The San Xavier del Bac mission, which is located on the Santa Cruz River a few miles south of Tucson, is rumored to have a plethora of buried treasures, similar to the stories that surround many of the older missions. Before we begin, subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos like this. Father Eusebio Francisco Kino, probably the most well-known Jesuit in the history of the Western Hemisphere, contributed significantly to the building of Del Bac. Stones required for the construction of the mission were excavated from a nearby hill and brought to the location where they were to be used by the indigenous people. The following entry can be found in Kino's journal for the day of April 28, 1700. "Today, we started laying the cornerstone for a very large and roomy church," said the pastor. Indians informed Father Kino, once the church had been constructed, of a rich vein of silver that they had discovered in the wild and desolate country to the southwest of the mission. This vein was located southwest of the mission. After completing all of his responsibilities at the mission and getting everything in order, Kino went into the mountains with his Indian friends to take a look at their silver. When he discovered that the Indians had not been lying to him but had, in fact, located an extremely rich vein, he was taken aback and overjoyed at the same time. La Esmeralda was chosen as the name for the newly discovered mine by Kino as a reference to the peculiar brilliant green color of the ore. The mining operation started right away, and as soon as the ore was extracted from the ground, it was placed in large rawhide bags and carried on the backs of the indigenous people for the remaining 6 miles to the mission. The ore was going to be smelted in a crude smelter, which had already been prepared. The local craftsmen fashioned a significant portion of the silver into ornaments for use on altars. At Magdalena in the state of Sonora, Mexico, on March 15, 1711, Father Kino passed away and went on to his reward. His burial took place in the historic church located there. Within a few short years, if he hadn't been there to provide his patience and guiding hand, all of the missions began to have trouble. In the year 1723, members of the Pima and Papago tribes attacked the Spanish missions located in Guvavi, Del Bac, and Tumacacori. Indians who were faithful to the church stole priceless silver and altar ornaments from the Del Bac mission and hid them in a nearby mine. The total value of these items was estimated to be $60,000. After repeated assaults on these 3 Jesuit missions, the Jesuit fathers finally abandoned their communities after a portion of their churches were destroyed. The Jesuits did not stay absent for an excessively long time. In the year 1731, Father Felipe Segesser assumed leadership of Del Bac, and in the same year, Father Juan Baptista Grasshoffer arrived at Guvavi. These 2 Jesuits were followed by more Jesuits. The Pimas were unable to be subdued and staged another uprising, this time by assaulting the missions in 1751. The missions located at Caborca and Sonoita were annihilated, and those located at Del Bac, Tumacacori, and Guvavi sustained additional damage. In light of the fact that the attack had led to the deaths of Father Francisco Xavier, Saeta, Tomas Rollo, and Enrique Ruin, the latter were given up at this point in time. The Indians, on the other hand, quickly developed a yearning for the peace and prosperity that the Padres seemingly brought wherever they went. In the year 1754, they petitioned the fathers to allow them to return to the missions under the condition that they would maintain their peaceful demeanor. The Pimas stayed true to their word and did not make the Padres' lives difficult in any way. After reopening the La Esmeralda, Del Bac enjoyed growing financial success and affluence. The silver that had been used on the altar was put back where it belonged in the church. Del Bac eventually surpassed all of the other Kino outposts in terms of its wealth thanks to the passage of time. In 1767, King Charles made a decision that caught everyone off guard when he ordered all Jesuits to leave Spain and all of its possessions. As soon as the Jesuits at the mission in Del Bac heard the news, they quickly and quietly buried all of their treasure, shut down their silver mine, and hid it, and then began their journey to the coast. The extensive network of missions that the Jesuits had established was eventually left unattended and allowed to deteriorate into ruin. Over the course of time, the Jesuits were succeeded in the southwest by the Franciscans. In the year 1783, Father Carrillo arrived in Del Bac and immediately began the process of constructing a new mission. Once more, both the Native Americans and the mission were successful. The collapse of the colonial government in 1822 prompted the Franciscans to finally abandon their posts in the missions. because the bishop in Sonora, Mexico, sent a priest from Magdalena to take charge of Del Bac. The silver treasure was left in the church. The priest came from Magdalena. It was still on the altar in 1859 when Bishop Lamy of the Diocese of New Mexico took charge of the district. The Indians and the priest had taken very good care of the silver that was used in the church. The existence of the church treasure was confirmed by white men who had prospected and mined along the border country in the years following the Mexican War. These men stated that they had seen and investigated the treasure in the year 1860. After that, in 1861, the United States became involved in a conflict known as the War between the States and the Union, which during those early years of the conflict was losing battles on every front, had an urgent need for the army troops that were stationed in Arizona. After the soldiers had left, the Apaches immediately began plundering everything that was owned by white men. The treasure of Del Bac vanished once more out of fear as a result of the raids that were taking place on the mission. The elderly Indians who continue to reside in this region assert that certain members of their tribe are the only ones who know the location of both the treasure and the La Esmeralda, and that at the appropriate time, the treasure will be returned to the altar of the mission. The Indians are going to keep their secret to themselves until that time comes. Confusions. Pima County, which is in the state of Arizona, is home to San Xavier del Bac. There's a legend that the lost Esmeralda mine can be found in Santa Cruz County, Arizona, approximately 6 miles to the southwest of the mission. Pima County, according to the assertions of some of the investigators. The state of Nevada is home to the Esmeralda mine. In Mineral County, Nevada, there is an old gold mine that has been closed down. The same name is also given to a gemstone mine located in San Diego County, California. It is a common form of address. So what do you think of this lost treasure? Share with us in the comments and subscribe to our channel for more. Thanks for watching.